Ladies and gentlemen, it's launch day. Spectre Divide Season 1 Flashpoint is finally here, also known as Spectre Divide 2.0. And the reason why they internally reference it as 2.0 is because it does feel like a brand new game. Not only do they add a slew of features and content, but also the game is finally coming to console. That's right. PS5 and Xbox Series S and X will get the game also today on launch day. So without further ado, let's get into it. First and foremost, with the game, when you fire it up, you'll see the main menu. And of course, like any live service game, you have the Battle Pass. This was something that the game was lacking, and it's finally been introduced. And unfortunately for me, the Battle Pass is underwhelming. I'm personally went through all the skins and all the cosmetics, and nothing in the Battle Pass for me personally stood out. And it just was underwhelming for me. I expected a little bit better considering how much time we've waited, and overall I was not impressed with what is featured. However, it does need to be noted that the Battle Pass does come with enough Spectre points that when you buy it, if you complete it, you can then have enough points to buy the next Battle Pass infinitely. So long as you keep completing the Battle Passes, you can always unlock the next one for free once you buy it once. Moving on, while the cosmetics in the Battle Pass were very underwhelming, the store skins were better in my opinion. Weren't the best I've seen because I have the Reaver bundle in the live game, and to me that was the best skin bundle that they've had thus far, and nothing even in the shop matches it, but the character skins in the shop were pretty decent. It needs to be noted that one of them is available for free via Twitch drops. If you watch 8 hours, you can get it for free. But other than that, the skins in the shop were better than the Battle Pass, but still not the best that I've seen from this team. Now, let's talk about gameplay. What are the new gameplay additions? Number one, the buy menu. The old buy menu of the game was basically the weapons were paired up, and you had to buy a specific pair of weapons for both you and your Spectre. Now, the issue with that was that it lacked creative freedom. You didn't have the freedom. Maybe you didn't like one gun over the other, so it lacked that freedom, and everybody has different skills and what they want to do. So they've changed it. The buy menu now, instead of having the weapons in pre-made pairs, the weapons are divided where one Spectre gets access to one set of weapons, while your main character gets access to another set of weapons. And now you can mix and match any weapon combination within the 2 pages, giving much more creative freedom with what you want to do. However, this came at a cost, because now the previous bundle, for example, a Reaver and a Crusader, used to be 4,100 credits combined. Now, with the new economy, it's now 4,600 credits. 500 credits more because of the prices and the changes that they've made. So while we do gain creative freedom, it did get more expensive to do some of the same bundles that you had before. Also for new content, is the new sponsor, Monarch. Now, Monarch is a very interesting sponsor. I had some time to play with him, and overall, I think the kit is a pretty good kit. Now, Spectre Divide's sponsors were pretty balanced before this patch, and it's still balanced now. Now, the kit for Monarch is his free ability is a barrier. Now, this barrier has 300 HP, so it does take a few shots to break, but it does slow your movement. And while you have the barrier active, you cannot shoot. However, you can reload. And furthermore, if the barrier is up, you can switch to your Spectre and you can fast travel the barriered Spectre that you have. So there is some perks to the barrier. Another advantage that you can do is you can run with a teammate where you peek out, put your barrier up, absorb the bullets while your teammate gets the free kill. So there's definitely team play with that. His other ability is a T-shaped wall, like smoke wall that he puts up. You can travel back and forth freely through this wall, but much like Ghost Protocol's wall as well, it will disorient your vision when you pass through it, making it hard to see enemies. His last ability, the last ability for Monarch, comes in the form of like a pulse. Now this pulse goes through walls, and any enemy that gets hit will have a temporary reduction of 20 HP hit to them, while you absorb up to 25 HP over health for you and your Spectre. So what this does is this essentially, it's like a temporary nerf to them and a buff to you for your health, and it can really help encounters, especially if both sides are at full health. You'll then be hit 80 and the other one will hit 25. So that's basically the kit for Monarch. It is a good kit, and I've seen some ways of how it can be used already. So it's definitely a good kit. It's not oppressive to play against, but it's also not overpowering either. Again, balance for this game has always been pretty good in that regard. The last new bit of content that they added is the map. The map canal is an interesting map because first and foremost, there is a boatload of angles. And when peeking, especially peeking mid, you do want to peek with your team because there's just so many angles to cover. There is a large portion of mid that is a fast recall station. The defenders have access to this before the buy menu ends, so they can get up there quicker. But for attackers, you can really push up mid really, really fast with the combination of the fast recall and sprint. And there's just so many pathways, especially going to A site. Like A and mid are tied together so much because of how many angles that there are. But overall, I do love the aesthetics of the map. I think the map is very pretty to look at. It's hell if you want to be a lurker on this map just because of how many angles you have to check at all times. Now, moving on to the newest feature of the game. So not necessarily content, but feature, is the sprint. Now, the developers have said that the sprint is 20% faster than with knife being out, and knife is already faster to walk in versus having your gun out, similar that to Valorant and Counter-Strike. Now, by itself, I like the sprint feature. It allows for fast rotations. It allows, especially when you're on defense, to move around the map. It does allow for more aggression because you can move around the map more freely. So by itself, I like the sprint. However, what I don't like, and this is the sentiment among the community, the Discord servers for this test was loaded with posts, people talking about this, is the sprint jump peak. That is grossly overpowered. Essentially, what you would do is if you know where an enemy is, you would sprint and then jump. And throughout your entire air time, and when you land, you are 100% accurate while aiming down sights. What this means is that you could hold a long angle and someone can just jump peek you and you're dead. There's nothing you can do. You already have to fight peeker's advantage when holding an angle. Now someone can just jump freely. A lot of people in the community do not like this, as this goes against the traditional tactical shooter tropes. It feels like Spectre Divide moved away from being a tactical shooter and moved more into being an arcade tactical shooter. And a lot of people in the community do not like that. That is not something that people want. What many people are calling for is for the sprint air accuracy to be far more inaccurate and to have a delay from when you land. Similar to when you break Monarch's barrier, there is a slight delay from when your gun can come up and for you to shoot. People want something similar to that, so when you land from a jump, there's about a half-second delay before you can aim down sights and get a kill. Essentially, what people are okay with is you can jump peek around a corner and get a kill if it's close range, ideally favoring an SMG or a shotgun. But when it comes to medium and long range and you're equipped with an LMG or a rifle, you should be inaccurate while jumping and landing, right? Because that's not the way the game, or the direction that people want the game to go. That is less of a tactical shooter and more of an arcade shooter, and that's not something that people want. We want a tactical experience, not an arcade experience. And the game just pushing more in towards that Call of Duty feel, which is not why I like Spectre Divide to begin with. Aside from that, this update, in my opinion, is absolute fire. What they've done, what they've added, is absolutely fantastic, and the game is still as fun as ever. Not to mention, they've also taken the time to polish up the game, both in terms of performance as well as the feel of the mechanics. Everything feels much smoother than it did before, and just overall, the game just feels so much better to play than it did previously to those who have played it. But overall, I like the direction. We have a battle pass, we have new maps, new sponsor. That's great. They've addressed a lot of the buy menu issues, the complaints with buy menu. They upped the pace. Great. The only thing is the sprint, but not the sprint by itself. Specifically, just sprint jump peaking is the problem with the game. And these developers, Mountaintop Studios, they are very receptive to feedback. And hopefully they change it so that the game doesn't stray too far away from the tactical nature and the tactical aspect of the game that fans love. We understand that you wanted to speed the game up, and like I said, the addition of sprinting and allowing you to move around the map quicker, I'm okay with. I'm just not a fan of the sprint jump peaking, especially at medium to long range. It really deters from what people expected, what people loved about Spectre Divide in the first place. But overall, this update is fire. If you've never played Spectre Divide before, I highly recommend playing it now. Especially console players, welcome to Spectre Divide. If you played it before on PC, give the game a chance again. It's much better now than it was before. And if you've never ever tried it, give the game a shot. It's free to play. And it's a small independent developer that's passionate about the game. And what's here is really, really good. Despite how I feel about the sprint air peak, in my opinion, the sprint jump peak, I'm still going to play this game. Because of all the tactical shooters that I have played, this one is still my favorite thus far. We'll see what happens when Fragpunk launches in a week and a bit from now. But overall, this game, give it a chance. This is definitely a really, really fun FPS game that is almost perfect for where it needs to be. This is Veteran Gamer, and I hope to see you guys next time.